Quit your 9 to 5 job. 9 to 5 jobs are worthless. Stay at home, says all those TikTok motivational gurus. Welcome to episode 6 of True Story, bro. You're with us, Kavinka and Seshan. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about are 9 to 5s as bad as they seem? All right, you heard the intro as 9 to 5 jobs as bad as they seem. Well, we both have worked 9 to 5 jobs and we have been on the flip side as well. And that is, well, sometimes not having a job, but at the same time, we have engaged in freelance work. Seshan, so I know that you don't have a 9 to 5. You have like a.
I work many
I'm just
nine to
gonna let
fives.
you explain. You have a 9 to 5 in like not this time zone.
Yeah, no, I still don't. I still don't work like 8 hours a day though.
Mhm.
It's still a very
Yeah.
relaxed number of hours. Um, but yes, are 9 to 5s as bad as they say? I think we don't just count out 9 to 5s like 9 to 5 jobs or full-time jobs rather, where you have to go to a place and work for 8 or 9 hours a day. That
Mhm.
is the norm that we have seen. I mean, Sri Lankan schools cater to that. We learn, and our parents also motivate us and encourage us to pass our exams well so that we can go and work a good job, right?
Mhm.
I mean, that's most, not every, but most Sri Lankan parents' dream, and what they tell their children is learn well, study hard, pass your exams well, and get a good job. I mean, I've heard that many times, right?
That's a mantra.
That's a mantra. But to be honest, I mean, I started off working a full time job as soon as I left
Yeah.
school.
Mhm.
I worked 5 days a week, 9 hours a day, right? I worked only for 3 months because it was an internship. So I got a stipend, right? And
Okay.
very small amount of money, and I was working full time. And it was at a place where I thought I would love, right? It was
All
it
right.
was like a dream place. You and I both know this place, by the way, because we've studied there.
Yeah.
and uh, and I
So.
thought I would love it. I did like some aspects of it, but those 3 months were draining.
Mhm.
I was not happy going there every day, right? And
Yeah.
then I got lucky and I got again, it was a full-time job. At least that's what the contract said. But I didn't end up going 5 days a week, 9 hours a day, right? So
Mhm. Mhm.
I could work flexible hours. I could work like 6 hours a day, 5 hours a day, because my boss was super nice, right? And so that was really cool. But then uh, I forgot what it was like to go through that pain of a full-time job. And like about a year later, I got into another because I finished my degree, right? And I got
Mhm.
into to get like training or whatever. I got into another full-time job, and this time it was a proper one, right? To do sales. Oh man, I got depressed, bro. I kid you not. Like, I know we spoke about the whole mental health thing last week, and I said
Yeah,
don't
but
throw that.
you were in a bad state.
I was in a bad state, bro. Like, I didn't talk to my parents properly. Uh, I couldn't, like, yeah. I'm a very positive guy, right? Like, I smile a lot. I laugh.
Mhm.
But during that time, bro, I I was really down in the dumps. I didn't feel like doing anything, right? And it was so demotivating. And every morning for 6 months, right, I would wake up thinking, oh God, why am I going to work? And I remember I used to go in the car and I used to park outside the office and I had to be at work by 8:30. I would wait till 8:29 before I would actually put the car in and I would actually go and put my fingerprint, right? And I was out the door by 5, right? It was bad, really bad.
Right.
Right. So that's my
So is
experience.
it at that point you were like, you screw this like 9 to 5
Bro,
stuff?
bro, my goal in those 6 months, like 2 months in, I already started planning my escape, right? And I was like, okay, I'm going to leave in 6 months, and I'm going to
You
leave.
can play the Mission Impossible theme music here.
I planned my income from my side hustles to match the amount I was getting from my full time.
Okay.
And the
Yeah.
moment I hit that, I plan to do it in like 4 months. I did it in like 3 months. So I waited an additional month till my internship ended. And
Okay.
boom, as soon as my contract was done, I left. Right.
Right.
Um, so for me personally, I cannot do a full time job working 9 hours a day, uh, going to a physical place and working full time is impossible to me. I can't for the life of me imagine how people do it for like 10, 15, 20 years.
Right.
It's
Our parents' generation, man.
and
Nuts.
for my dad or my mom who has worked like that for 10, 15 years, it's normal. It's not like when I talk to them about staying at home and looking at my computer and doing a couple of
Hmm.
classes and earning, it's incomprehensible to them, right? But then again, we are on the lower end of income earners when it comes to online earning. You get what I mean? So there
Yeah,
are
yeah,
enough and
yeah.
more people my age, right, or our age, that's earning easily 500, 600,000, if not more, by not going to a physical place of work full time. So then the real question is now for you and I, we know it doesn't work, right? But what about for majority of the people? What do you think?
Of course. So it's an interesting story that you said, and you do give both sides to it. And you said that when the income matched your from your side hustles, the income matched your actual job, your 9 to 5 job, is then when you started to think, yeah, it's time for the switch now. But yes, you mentioned that that people were earning way more from their side hustles than their normal jobs. And just for context, for to our international viewers, 600,000 to 700,000 Sri Lankan rupees is around 1,600 USD. So I think so 1,600 USD is good. Yeah, let me just double check. Yeah, it's actually 1,643 USD as of 22nd of September. But yes, see, we know both the sides. I have been in a 9 to 5 in a law firm, uh, at courts, but that courts also I get into it, like how courts operate. So at a law firm, and I've been at a 9 to 5 at a news corporation. So I get into like those jobs as well. But yes, two different sides. What you mentioned saying that if you don't like it, you won't like your 9 to 5 job, man. If you genuinely in everything in life, if you like something, do it. That's the thinking, right? It applies to this to everything, including 9 to 5 jobs. If you don't like your job, then you're not going to like it, man. It's not going to like you back. And so I had this conversation with my dad one day, when I was about 20. I asked him, how do you manage to, because like you said, right, how people manage to do this 9 to 5, 5 days a week for over 20, 25 years. He's going to be celebrating, uh, he's going to be celebrating 18 years this year at his workplace. And that's a long time. And he's been doing this 9 to 5 stuff, and he works overtime as well, right? I mean, it's insane. So I asked him, what motivates you to do this? He said, I like it. I like what I do. And sometimes he would complain, saying, like, oh, it's tiring. And everybody does that. But he likes what he does. And I think 9 to 5s are not bad, as they say, if you like your job. Because a lot of other things factor into it as well, which we are going to talk about. But bottom line, bro, of course, there are going to be people who are earning uh, more figures than your normal average 9 to 5 job by doing a side hustle, and that's great. And so I think not every job caters to that. Sometimes you do need jobs which are 9 to 5, and you'll just be rewarded with a salary, and that's life, man. That's going to be your life, because like that's, I think, what the path that you carved, and you reap the you sow you
You sow what
I,
you reap.
that's
You reap
okay,
what
my
you sow.
brain
What am I saying? Oh,
under we reap what you sow, reap what you
you
sow.
reap
Yeah,
what
you
you
reap
sow.
what you
Yeah.
sow, right? Yeah, so that we'll be getting into later, on the topic of like slaving away on a 9 to 5. But 9 to 5s aren't really 9 to 5s, right, Seshan? Like, people talk about an 8 hour work day. It's not really 8 hours. I researched into this a bit. Like, no, there's nothing to really research, but I was like, hey, yeah, it does make sense. I think I saw this in a 4 hour work week by Tim Ferriss. I think I saw it there, and he or some other author mentioned that 9 to 5s aren't just the working times, but you start work the time you wake up, and you end work the time you step out of the shower after, and you rest, right? So I'm saying this is an ideal person in Colombo working, and his office is in Colombo too. So that would be like 10 minutes drive away for those who aren't familiar with the whole thing. What if he wakes up at 7 o'clock, right? 7 o'clock. I'm saying a 30-year-old who maybe can cook on his own, by the way. 7 o'clock, you wake up, you wash, eat, get ready. It's 8 o'clock. 8 8 o'clock to around like 8:10, you're just like looking for a cab boy, or you're taking your car out or whatever. And by 9, you're at work. So that like 8, even 8 to 9, that's commuting. So 8 to 5, okay, you do the 8 to 5. And at 5 o'clock, say you check out on an ideal day at 5 o'clock. And then you come home at around 5:30, 5:45, get in the shower, step out of the shower, and you relax. And that time you relax is the time you finish work. And how crazy of thinking is that? Like, it totally reprograms the way we've been thinking of 8 hour work weeks and 9 to 5. It's an insane concept. And there's nothing really you can do about it. Like, just, bro, just think the people who are coming from far away places all the way until Colombo, who don't have their private modes of transportation, who have to endure a long train journey, a long bus ride.
True,
Crazy, right?
bro. Like, I know people who come to now work at a radio station, right? And I know
Yeah.
people who travel from really far that commutes in the bus. Bro, the bus, it kills you. Like, when you travel in it
Yeah.
and you come to a place morning, evening, that commute kills you, right? And the thing with Sri Lankan
Mm.
companies, most Sri Lankan companies, for lower level employees, they don't pay you much, right? And I think this is the case with, I think, anywhere around the world. I mean, even if you look at countries in the States, or countries like the States, England, whatever, they also complain about they are getting a fixed salary at the end of the month. That is not enough for them to live a good, comfortable life. Obviously, as you move up and up and up the ladder, the package increases, which makes the job more lucrative, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But especially at the, say, the first 10 years of your career, you're just slaving away, right? And doing something, if you enjoy what you do. Now, for example, if I got a job where I could create content like this, right? Or the stuff like I do for my public speaking academy, right? Or
Yeah.
even just to teach. If I got to
Okay.
teach 9 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week, right? And I got compensated
Yeah.
properly for that, bro, I would do it without complaint,
Yeah.
right? Right? Because even now, I mean, I work more than just 8 hours a day. To like now, as of now, I'm working 20 hours a day easily, in
Mm-hmm.
between 18 and
Mm-hmm.
20 hours a day. But I never wake up in the morning thinking, oh God, I got like three, four things to do today. Do when I kid you not, when I wake up on Monday, I wake up at 5. My work day ends at
Okay.
3 Tuesday morning. That's a 22-hour day, right? and that is back to back to back to back work, right?
Yeah.
But I love it. I look forward to everything. When I look forward to going to the company I work at, I look forward to it, right? When I come back home for my classes, I look forward to that. When I
Yeah.
have my nighttime thing, I look forward to that, right? Nighttime thing, to be very honest, it's driven financially. So I see the package at the end of the month and I was like, wow, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's also now, even that, it's also because I don't have to work 8 hours a day in the night, right? I work like
Mhm,
they have given
mhm.
me the flexibility. As long as you complete your work and hit the targets, you're good. You don't have to necessarily work the full
Yeah.
time. It's also become a bit of a side part-time thing right now. But I never dread a week. I never dread my work day, right? So as long
Yeah.
as, like, even if you're doing a 9 to 5 and you enjoy it, that is great, because you have to do something that brings you happiness at the end of the day, right? But then I think we are also a bit privileged to think that way, or even I don't know. That's what I feel now. In my say, for example, in my dad's case, when he entered the job market, it's not like he had as many opportunities as we do today, right? Plus, he has given me skills. I mean, he has through the years cultivated skills in me that he didn't have back then,
Mhm.
which made it
Yeah.
easier
Yeah.
for me to get like side hustles that would make me more money, right? Whereas when
Mhm.
he started off, because of certain things in his life, he didn't have those same skills and those same capabilities. So, in order to maintain his family, in order to build a new family with my mom, right? Even my mom and him both, my mom and dad both had to work really, really hard, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's
it
a
also,
parental generation thing, bro. The that whole fact of giving your children what you didn't have. I think it's something that came up recently with the, especially in the Sri Lankan context. I think most Asian parents do this as well, like especially Asian immigrant parents, to give their children a better life than what they had. And it's totally true here. Like my dad had barely half the things that I get, man. And I'm so glad and, dare I say, even so privileged to be getting half the things that I get. And like, I'm so grateful for that. Like, even this, bro, like the ability to speak, he was like, go and put this fellow in a elocution class. And I came out, I did just 2 years, yeah, of course, but I got maximum out of that at a young age. And then he put me into several singing competitions, and so there I developed stage presence and how to communicate to an audience. And even so, here I am.
so, but okay, so let's talk about the pros of doing a 9 to 5, right? One of the pros that I see is that you have stability and you get a guaranteed paycheck at the end of every month, right? Aside from that guaranteed paycheck, you also get bonuses. Uh, Sometimes you get like other fringe benefits like a car, or they pay a Wi-Fi bill.
Mhm.
You get a phone, laptop, different things like that. So in a way, it is a lucrative deal. You work 30 days, you get a significant amount of money, you get a laptop,
Yeah, yeah.
car, whatever. So that's cool. That's a benefit. Plus, if you really like what you do, that's great. I mean, then you have achieved what you want in life, right? Like you got a super job, you're doing what you
Mhm.
like. That's great. But even if you don't like your job, you still have those benefits of a guaranteed paycheck and all that. And then there's career progression. So you got a goal, you got a mission. So you do your work well, they see, you know, they see something in you, and you are able
Yeah.
to move forward, right? Aside
Also,
from that,
networking. I think,
networking. Oh, yes, absolutely.
yeah, you
Especially
can
if you
network
are
a lot.
in sales or marketing or something like that, or even like PR, HR, the networking ability is great. I mean, any division of a company, you are able to
Yeah.
network pretty well, right? Then you also get, in some companies, depending on their culture, you also get a social life if you didn't have one, right? Like for example, some people, you know, maybe they didn't have a lot of friends back in school, but the work
Mm,
culture is different. I mean, it's pretty
yeah.
inclusive. Depends again on the culture, but I mean,
Yeah.
I know, like for example, there are different companies that have a get together every month. They got trips
Mm-hmm.
like every 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So there are different benefits like that. So all in all, if you are really committed to working full time and building a career, a nine
Yeah.
to five is pretty lucrative, right? It's not a
Yeah.
bad issue.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if anyone considering, if you are really willing to put your head down and work for 15 years straight to live a superb life at the end of 15 years, I mean, if you hit the level of at least say a senior manager or maybe a director of a company, you get to that level, you're golden, right?
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
much sorted.
Of
So that's
course.
great. So if you really want to get to that level, by all means, go for it, right? We are not that. I mean, I personally wouldn't discourage anyone from doing a full time job, because for a lot of people, stability is something that they would look for, right? But for the more adventurous type of people, uh, it's not going to work. And especially for people our generation, I think the biggest problem is our attention spans are very short. I think that is
Mm,
the biggest issue. Now, even for
yeah.
me, even if I enjoy something, doing it again for a really long period of time can be a bit boring. So I need to have diverse. Now that is why for me teaching is great, because teaching offers diversity,
Yeah.
right? So if I teach one class for 2 hours, it's not even the same people, it's not the same reactions in the next class, right? So the activities you can do, the different people you meet, the different stories you hear are very different. So that's why I said
Yeah.
I can teach 9 hours a day, 7 days a week, because for me it gives me that diversity, right?
Okay.
But certain other jobs are not like that. It's kind of difficult. Now for me, like say for example, I had a desk like an admin job, I would be really bored. So
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is,
Of course.
so
Makes
it
sense.
would be really difficult. So so those are the benefits I see with a full-time job, right? So what
Yeah.
are the
Mm.
cons? What are the cons?
Well, just to add to that, the pros stuff. I think a major thing that we are missing is our perception, because we are speaking from, like, let's be real, like our families are middle income earners, right? So like we speak from a sense of a middle income perspective, right? We say, oh, like, oh, such a drag, 9 to 5. Wish I was working a 9 to 1, which made me the same amount of money as a 9 to 5 would. Or like, see, the reason why we don't like a 9 to 5 is because it takes ourselves away from what we like to do. But if you like to do something that is a 9 to 5, then of course we mentioned this at the beginning. But a lot of people don't have that privilege, bro. Because sometimes when you say that you're working at a place for 9 to 5, you're hailed as a mini hero in your family. For a lot of people, they will say proudly with chest that they were the first in their family to get a 9 to 5. Like if they ask what was your dad doing, oh, like he was in PETA pulling carts. And if your mother, like what was your mother doing? Oh, she was like selling jackfruit or something on the side of the road. So those are also factors that affect people saying that they are in a 9 to 5, and those are something that I think we would have missed out on it when we were going through the pros. So it's not always cons for people. 9 to 5, if see, it's very subjective. If you like what you're doing, go and do it. If it's benefiting you, go and do it. But uh, just another small thing I want to say is that If you're not learning or earning from your job, quit it. If you're getting one of those, great. So quit it means like fully quit it, bro. Like look at some other place which helps you learn and earn. But also it depends on your your age as well, uh, your income level. That we will get into later. But cons of working a 9 to 5 is that you're taken away from your, I would say, desires, like what is close to your heart. Because let's be honest, all jobs are going to have to end one day. Your life is going to end one day, but at the same time, those close to you are going to have like real connection. You're going to have real connections with those close to you. Know, you're not going to have real connections with those people at office where you talk like, oh, noted, boss. Thanks for your concern. Hope all is well. Hope this email finds you well. Nah, it's not like that. But that's the thing. A lot of 9 to 5s take people away, especially fathers. Like, I'm not even being like gender specific here, but dads, especially in our parents' generation, they take our fathers away from family time. And our parents are like our moms. Like my mom would get mad sometimes because my dad is overworking himself, and he genuinely thing is like he genuinely likes what he's doing. Like I'm pretty sure that your dad also has those situations where like he genuinely likes what he's doing, and then his mother would be like, why aren't you spending time with the family? It's that is one con of 9 to 5. Another thing is what I said is that 9 to 5 is not 9 to 5. It's more like 7 to 6. And when you look at it, uh, 8 hours of sleep, 7 to 6. So that's like yeah, like 11 hours plus 8 hours. Like you just have 5 hours to yourself, but do something during those 5 hours. Those are my cons, really. Just takes you away from your desires and what is close to your heart. What do you have to add?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing, bro. It kills your passion. If you have something else that you really want to do, it's difficult for you to do it while doing a full-time job. You can. I mean, you can come home at 6 and start working on your side hustle for sure, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people do that, and that's great because one day your side hustle is what will, build up your own business or whatever that will make you the
Yeah.
most amount of money. Uh, but it really it takes away from the time you have to do what you really want to do, right? And now I think with the whole COVID-19 pandemic happening and all of us going remote, the opportunities seem pretty endless. And now I mean, it's not just me. Like I think a lot of people are in a mode of FOMO, where we are like so
Mm-hmm.
afraid of missing out on the different opportunities that are there. So like I think for me personally, I need to calm down a little bit because I'm
Bro,
doing a bit of this.
same man. Like I'm applying to like 2, 3 different stuff online every week. Like I know that I don't have time. I'm like acting as if I have 27 hours in my day, 9 days a
Oh.
week, 50 days a month, and I'm like,
No, and I think we
like let's
also need to
apply.
just calm down a little bit and
Ah
just
man,
focus on
that's
one thing.
yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
us doing like 10 different things is not. I mean, I was talking to my boss, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
work at an institute and a super
Mm-hmm.
place, and it's run by a super lady. And she was just telling me that she was just telling me how I was doing too many different things for me
Mm-hmm.
to really become a professional at one, right? And
Okay,
she
yeah,
says, so she's what she said was, I'm running behind money. I'm not really doing, I'm not really building a skill for the future. And that really struck home for me because right now at 23 years old, I'm okay, right? I'm, I feel like I'm, I'm in an okay position, right?
yeah,
But I can't work at the same intensity 10 years from now.
yeah,
Right? So what she says is cut down on the money now. It's okay if you earn a small amount of money, but build one thing from ground up to a good level. So she says by the time you're like 35, you will be sorted. right? And I think that's what's happened to a lot of people our generation. We want quick results, we want to be successful now, we don't want to wait
Yeah.
till 35,
Mm.
because we think like the good years of our life are gone,
And
right?
35 is not long a long way to go, bro. It's like 12 years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And what
Yeah.
she says is, okay, so she was like, I started an institute and I am making I started making real money by the time I was like 40, right? But she said, I have enjoyed my life more than a lot of other people who are 40, right? Right. And
Okay.
that it makes sense, right? It makes sense that, because anyone working a 9 to 5 job would
Yeah, yeah,
also
of
have to
course.
go through the same thing and won't get the same level of satisfaction or enjoyment. So, as people doing all this freelance stuff,
Mm.
I think if we build on one thing, we have the ability to really enjoy our lives by the time we're like 35, 40. So, I think that's also a good way to think about it. Instead of doing like a million different things, focus on one thing or two things max that will earn you profit in the long run. So I think it's a good way of looking at it. Um, at the same time, okay, so then what are the opportunities that are out there? Now we said there's a lot of opportunities. So like, you do a lot of stuff. So can you just give a
The All right. So you don't want to do a 9 to 5. What are the solutions? Well, happy to tell you that you are living in 2022 and you just need a phone or a laptop and an internet connection. Sishan, the way that people earn money these days is insane. I saw a fact today. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm not telling the viewers to do this. Of course, if you want, you can do it. Really not my cup of tea. But OnlyFans creators make 600 to 700 million per day, and I'm wondering here, like, what am I doing? Creators are like all the creators. I'm speechless. I'm thinking of whether to like. I have no
take your
clue, man.
clothes off?
Anyway, right, right. So look,
Oh,
if you
man.
want to go and do it, go and do it, man. Just
Yeah.
don't make your parents or your generation sad or whatever. Anyway, other income streams. Let's talk about that. You can do the you can get on Fiverr, Upwork, and Contra. Those three are freelancing websites. And of course, if you go to the internet and find other places, other sites, you can definitely find so many freelancing stuff. Freelancing can be anything. It can be writing, something that I do. It can be speech, something that Seshan does. Uh, you don't have to go to international levels. It can be done here in Sri Lanka. On Facebook, you can go to some pages and you'll still find a lot of freelancing websites, freelancing opportunities. Also, for example, like I'm going to give you an idea here. It's something that I actually did with Seshan's thing, but I never asked it with the aim of making money. Around this time, 1 year ago, I asked him, "Can I manage your social media account for the Success Academy?" His public speaking institution, and he said yes. Uh, you know, months later, it's earning income. Of course, then he pays his team, and I'm part of the team. So that also, and yes, on that note, don't do something which is only just money minded. Of course, you can have one thing. I would say just one thing that makes you go for money. If not, like, don't do it just because of the money. I said don't don't have a job where you don't earn or learn, but at the same time, if you're earning and if you're still unhappy at that place, then quit it, obvious, of course. Um, so yeah, like stuff like that, and also the amount of stuff that is on the internet, man. Just to give you an idea, one of my friends in the US, he has this thing, this like business of buying and selling, so basically flipping accounts of games. Like for example, I don't know how many of your viewers play FIFA, but like FIFA accounts, they would people would sell them for like $100, and people would buy them for $120, and you make a $20 profit. That's a way of making money. So many places you can earn money. Just search on the internet, search on Google, search on YouTube. You find it, because if there's a will, there is a way. Uh,
Yeah, man,
Sheshan, I think
and
that's
also the thing is, think of your part-time thing, or think of your mode of making money as a long-term thing. Like we said before,
yes,
don't just now. I
absolutely.
see now. I had a cousin reach out to me, and he said, he's not
Hmm.
earning enough from his full-time job. So how can he earn some money on the side? So I said,
Yeah,
okay, now he's someone that's struggling for money, right? And he has a kid and all of that. So he really finds it difficult to make ends meet, right? And it's
make
really
ends meet.
difficult to,
I was also like, okay,
yeah.
because
And
it made sense.
no, so he finds it really
Yeah.
difficult, right? Uh, and now he's looking at ways where he can make quick money, right? So he's sending me like these
Okay.
really scam looking stuff, asking would this stuff work? Dude, that is one thing he sent me called Onmax DT. It's like a It's like this thing, it's like a pyramid scheme where you invest money and they apparently in turn invest it in Bitcoin or something, right?
Oh,
And imagine like Bitcoin has taken a dip these days. Sure, I don't know how, I don't know the market, so I don't know if people are still profiting
yeah,
from it.
it has, bro. It has jumped to like 18,300. Insane.
But anyway, I mean, when I looked at it itself, when I looked at the website, I realized like even the name, bro, Onmax DT, I was like,
Yeah, yeah. On
damn,
Max D.
that's a scam, right?
Yeah, he would have just like looked at some shop pens on Max DT. On Max DT.
Right? So, but what I told him was, okay, I'll give you a lucrative method of earning money without
Mm,
any investment, zero investment, right? The best way, or one of the best ways that you can earn money with zero investment is teaching something online, right?
mm,
Anything. It might be teaching English, mathematics, Sinhala, religion, whatever it is. Also, keep in mind, don't scam people just because you can. Don't teach people garbage. But if you actually have a skill, if you have knowledge about a particular subject, maybe it can be grade 5 Sinhala, right? Or
yeah.
grade 8 maths, whatever. It can be a subject as
Mm,
small as that. But if you can take that and teach it well and teach it online, you have zero expenses. Zoom is free,
mm,
right? You can have a 45-minute
yeah,
class for free. And
yeah,
especially if it's a one-on-one class, you can go on for like a really long it's unlimited, I think, one-on-one, right?
yeah,
So, you charge a person 2,000 rupees per month, right? You can still make a considerable amount of money, right?
yeah,
In the long run, it will take a bit of work to market yourself and get students in, but anything takes work, right? Anything
yeah,
takes,
yeah.
you have
Of
to
course,
decide which work you're willing to
bro.
put.
Bro, even like people say cryptocurrency is easy money. You need to know. You either have luck, unimaginable amount of luck, by the way, or you have to develop that skill of knowing, leverage, yielding, the coins. All those you need to learn. So
Yeah, and
nothing
if
comes.
anything, if
See, the,
anyone
the
is,
best thing you can do is invest in yourself first. You
yeah,
have to invest in yourself first, and then, like you said, then teach it out.
yeah, and no, the other thing is, don't fall for these scams where people say there's easy money to be made online. I
Mm,
don't think
mm,
those things are true, right?
so,
Most of those things, if you're getting paid for having zero skill, it's a scam, right? And you're
yeah,
probably not going to get paid. You might have to invest some money and you lose that money, but you're not going to get paid. So anything that requires you to earn a substantial amount of money requires some work. So you have to learn a skill and apply that skill to learn to earn.
yeah,
Right? So whether it
yeah,
be trading forex or trading crypto or getting into the stock market, people think stock market is easy, but you have to learn how to trade, right? You have to learn where to invest, right? People say it's a game or it's like a lottery. It's not. There are like methods where you
Yeah, yeah,
can identify where to invest. So it takes a significant amount of work. Starting a YouTube channel, right, is another great way to make income in the long run. But keep in mind, it's long run. You have to be again either superb content creator, right? Or you have to be consistent. You have to be a consistent content creator,
yeah,
right? So two different ways. So there's obviously, but teaching would get you immediate cash. That's a fast way to earn money. That's also a, a business you can build up on, right? You can get into
yeah,
different things. Like you can put your courses on Skillshare. You can have your own website and sell your courses there. Or you can be a teacher that teaches online, like live sessions online, right? Or you can work at an institute, right? If you work at an institute, you just get paid to go and teach, right? It's just a 2 3 year thing that you get quite a considerable amount of money for, right? uh, I wouldn't recommend teaching at a school because again it's terrible pay, especially here in Sri Lanka. Teachers get terrible money,
yeah.
but
And to
again,
work with kids, bro.
no, working with kids is okay. It's just that
Okay,
I mean, I work
I
with
am.
kids, I enjoy it,
Yeah,
right?
true.
But as a teacher in a school, I mean, it's terrible, man. But also, how teachers also look at it is brand brand value. I work with a leading, like a teacher could say, I work with a leading school in Sri Lanka, right? And that would give him immediate brand value. So unless you're looking at it in that sense, uh, I wouldn't recommend teaching at a school. If you are looking at financial success, if you there are teachers, bro, who genuinely love teaching. They don't give a shit about how much they earn. So they are just for pure joy. But those teachers
Mm-mm.
are very limited, right? Those teachers are very limited. A lot of people are there with the intention of financial success. And we live in such a world where you can't be that way anymore. My grandfather was a teacher, right? And my parents always say, like, he would go to school in the morning, come back home at 1, and he would still spend in the evening about another 4 hours getting ready for next day's lesson. But he said, and he used to do like tuition classes. He used to do, like, he used to get children from school to come and learn from him at home without charging a
Yeah.
cent, right?
See,
Without charging a
oh,
cent,
okay.
simply for the love of teaching, right? But I
That's
think we
rare, man.
that's rare. That is rare. But I think we also now live in a society where it's difficult to be that way. Look at the prices of everything. It's difficult to survive
That's
on
true.
a normal salary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to look at, and while giving value, give super value. If you are ever a teacher, if you are any sort of person providing a service, give the best value, right? But you also have to look at the return. If the return is not good enough, then you have to consider your options, right? So I think that,
Mm-mm-mm.
so those are some of the ways in which you can earn money uh, without doing a full-time job. And I gave my personal recommendation for what I think is best because it's what I do, right? I it's how I earn my buck, right? But for you, it's
Yeah, I
different.
think so. That's yeah. For me, it's different because what I have done so far is literally, bro. The first thing I started doing when I went out of school, my first like part-time job was writing, and I used to charge 1 rupee a word, which is mad if you think about it now. And on like last week, I was able to charge one of my clients 20 rupees a word, and in my opinion, like in my eyes, that's a 20 times, bro, in the past 4 years. Yes, it takes time. See, anything takes time. And what you mentioned, or all the opposites of a 9 to 5 job, do not for a second think that things come quickly. If they do, then that's pure luck, or you just have generational wealth. Of course, like, your parents are rich, like sugar daddy, sugar mommy, one of those either. So that's that. Uh, Perception of a 9 to 5 also changes with the whole, if you're gonna get married and you are a parent, and then you would value you would have a conflict between whether you really want to have that 9 to 5, especially when you're having a side hustle and it's bringing you that level of income. Are you going to really have a 9 to 5 when you're having a kid, when you're having two kids, when you're having, you know, a family to take care of? Those things also matter. Uh, there's also this other thing, like just before we wrap up, 9 to 5s are great for some people. However, some people are there that make 9 to 5s a living hell for others. Like they love the job, but the job doesn't love them back. And that's where being a good person comes in. Whatever you're working with, whoever you're working with, be kind to other people, man. Just because like they are going through some crazy shit.
No, so
You don't know.
I'll tell you a true story, right?
Yeah,
Because this is
tell
true
me.
story, bro. Right?
Absolutely.
So I work at, I don't even want to say the industry, but I work at a specific company where people haven't got like a raise or a bonus or anything for the last 12 years, right? No raise in their salary. There are people, yeah, bro, forget 12 years. There are people who have been working at that company for like 15, 16, 17 years who haven't got a raise.
See.
So they're working at like 30,000, 40,000 rupee salaries for the last 10 to 12 years. And this is no joke. This is no lie. This is truth, right?
Yeah.
And these people work full time, family people, earning 40 to 50, maximum like 50,000, maximum 60,000 rupees, right? And they get treated terribly, right? They get scolded in filth, they get degraded, dehumanized, everything, right? And it's terrible working culture. I don't think that's the case in every Sri Lankan company. I definitely don't think that, but there are a few companies like that. And this is I
Okay.
work at one of these companies. But in
Yeah.
my case and a lot of other part-timers case, so that they offer part-time opportunities as well, right?
Mhm.
For certain people, right? Not
Okay.
everyone can get part-time either, right?
Okay.
For certain, but the best part is that part-timers get paid more than full-timers, right? There are certain part-timers that pull in 500, 600,000 rupee salaries, right?
Okay.
As opposed to a full-timer who gets like 50 to 60,000, right? Think about
Okay.
that. Like, think about it. The reason
Mhm.
is those people who come
Okay.
part-time have established themselves on the outside, right? So it's a benefit for the company to have them. You get what I mean? It's a benefit for the company to have them. So the company pays them more to keep those guys. But the full timer who's contributing all his time and effort into this company is of no big value to the company. They know they can't get a job anywhere else, right? And
That's
so
oh
they are milking them of their time and effort and paying them peanuts, right? So that's a true story, right? It's a true story, true as hell, right? So if you are ever in that sort of situation, I'd suggest you start looking at your options because in this day and age, you just need one skill, and you just approach as many people as you can to provide that skill on a freelance or contract basis. And that will
yeah.
earn you over time, maybe 1 or 2 years. It will earn you consistent income, right? Like one of my friends, he got into voiceovers, right? When he first
Okay.
started off, he was earning, I mean, he was doing a full time job, right? Still is. And he was earning a considerable amount of money from the full time job as well. And so he was doing voiceovers
Okay.
as his side hustle, and he wasn't earning much.
Mhm.
But 2 years, or rather 1.5 years down the line, he's like, I get 3 to 4 voiceovers a week that pays me at an average 25,000 rupees per voiceover.
Oh
Right?
wow.
So
Okay.
So now he's earning at least double or even triple the amount of money from voiceovers. which is his side hustle,
Gee.
as opposed to his full time
This
job.
is the same guy that we are thinking of, by the way.
I think so.
Yeah.
We both do know him. We both
Okay.
do know him,
Okay.
but there are a couple of people who have the same story though that we also know. So
Right.
it's
Okay.
so whether it's voiceovers, whether it's comparing, whether it's copywriting, teaching, whatever it is, you get one skill, work on that skill for 2 to 3 years, you should be golden. And you don't have to ever work a full time physical job ever again. And that also being said, though, entrepreneurs survive by having employees who would work 9 to 5. Think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you were to become a
Oh,
businessman,
that's also true.
the lack of 9 to 5 mentality employees would be a bad thing, right? That's why I think countries like
Yeah.
Canada, Australia, England are getting in so many Asian people because their own countrymen are now looking at self employment. So there's a huge lack of labor, right? And that's why they love
Yeah.
Asians because Indians, Sri Lankans, people from Pakistan, all those countries, for
Even.
them, the
Yeah.
opportunity to go to a country like Canada, England, or whatever is mind
Mm,
blowing. It's life changing, right?
yeah.
But for people living in those same countries, they don't want to do the shitty job, not the shitty jobs, but the jobs that are being taken up by Asians, right? Or uh, people from less privileged countries than those, immigrants rather, right?
Yeah.
So it's really a matter of perspective, right? So, and it's also now schools also teach us to become employees. Like, if that's what Rich Dad Poor Dad says, right? He says schools are created to build employees, right? Not employers. So, out of that, the people that break away from it become more successful than the people
So,
that,
yeah.
went into a job or into a career path that was laid out for them from school,
Yeah.
right? So I think we might go on to talk about this in another episode because I feel like there's a lot of things we missed out on as well. Because this is not a topic you can just cover
Mm,
because we spoke about a lot of pros and cons, right? So I think in conclusion, it really depends on where you are in life and what you
yeah.
really want out of your life. So for me personally, I wouldn't do a 9 to 5 job if I can help it ever again in my life, right? I never would. Uh, so my recommendation is build a skill and really work on that skill so that you can work on a freelance or contract basis or even be self-employed and build your own business uh,
Yeah.
as opposed to working under someone else. That personally would be what I plan to do in my life. I'll leave it at that. I'm not advising anybody to do anything. It's just what
Yeah.
I plan to do for the next 10 to 15 years of my life. What about you?
Absolutely. I have gotten the taste of corporate. I have gotten the taste of a law firm and courts as well, bro. Like courts is the opposite of a free in law, courts, I wouldn't say that it is wholeheartedly better than working in a law firm because working at courts requires that special skill of actually working courts and presenting an argument, defending your client. It's crazy. I would advise you to come to Supreme Court one day and just watch how these people argue because it's insane. And the amount of the remuneration they get from that is like I'll tell you after the episode, man. Like millions, right? Millions that we are talking about. So, law like courts would be the alternative to law firms, and law firms are hectic as well. I worked in a newsroom. Newsroom is like it's everyday work, bro. Like there is no off days for news. You know because you worked in news as well. And also, like one final thought is that our generation, I think this generation is going to be that generation that will not hold on to one job. They'll be jumping from job to job, and I personally feel that I will become that. Not sure about you, but that I will personally, like, I feel that I will become that kind of person who jumps from job to job every 4 to 5 years. That's good, but because you would want a challenge, but at the same time, that stability is what you're risking,
And
and those
at
are
the
all yeah.
and yeah, and I think at the end of the day, I stand by my recommendation. I at least for myself, what I plan to do is build a skill, sell that skill, and never go into a 9 to 5 again, personally. So for those of
Cool.
you who it works for, by all means, keep doing it. It's great, and it's lucrative. It gives you career opportunity. But for those of you that are unable to focus for that long, and maybe even a bit, who are looking for a bit more freedom of time, right? Because
Hmm.
time freedom is something that people like us really value. I would
Yeah.
recommend building a skill and selling that skill, or becoming a businessman by building a innovative product or delivering an innovative service. So
Okay,
with
and with
that,
that,
we are done
we are
for
done
today.
for today.
If you
Make
found
sure to
any value
subscribe
in
to the
our
channel,
videos, make
like,
sure to
and
share
comment
it
your
with your
ideas
friends.
below.
Like, comment, and let us know what your ideas on a 9 to 5 job are. Because I think we covered both bases. So see if you missed out on anything, and I think we did miss out on a couple of things which we hope to cover in our second episode regarding this, which will come a lot later on, I guess. But because we do have a lot of other interesting topics to talk about.
Of course.
So
Of course.
all right, so we look forward to seeing you guys next week, and that
It's a true story, bro. See you guys.